This is a View from the Bridge official podcast of the Belfast Giants for kingdomofthegiants.com. Today's Tuesday, the 3rd of March, 2026. My name's Patrick Smith. I'm joined by the man in the Stetson this side of me this time, Mr. David Mid-GMC, the statistician for the Belfast Giants, and down here, the man who's a local ice hockey legend, the fella who Davy had as his hero, Mr. Simon Kitchen. Over the next hour show, we'll be bringing you all the news and views of the Belfast Giants and the Elite Ice Hockey League. You can get us on YouTube, Facebook, X, and all the really good podcast providers. On this week's show is 4 points for the Belfast Giants over the last weekend, and our focus changes straight away to the Challenge Cup semi-final, which takes place on Wednesday night against the Coventry Blaze. We'll look at those games. We'll look ahead to that one. We'll be joined by Jake Gaudet for a bit of a chat ahead of that game. There's a bit of a player month stuff to talk about, and maybe a few bits of the Elite League has been pretty busy with moves. We've got a new face in ourselves, and we say goodbye to Alexi Gravel, but we'll come to all of that later in the show. Mr. Mid-GMC, how are you?
I'm very well, Paddy. Simon, good to see you. It felt like LFG time of year, so Dawn in the Stetson, Jeff Baum Jr.'s dad, Jeff Baum Sr., Jeff Baum, gave me last year. So thanks, Jeff. Nice to chatting to him during the week. So good man. Still keeps in touch with us. LFG. You've stuck something in the chat there. Oh, so just before Simon comes in last 24-hour raffle, we have got a cap from a player issue cap from last year's Elite League Challenge Cup champions player cap. We have got one on the raffle, 24 hours, finishes at 6:55 tomorrow night. Get yourself a ticket. Links there.
Mr. Kitchen, how are you? You've had a quick trick. Last week, we got you just after you were just back from London. This week, you're just back from Dublin.
Yeah, I had a little trip to Dublin today to pick up a newcomer, Alex Caffey, and really nice guy. Looking forward to seeing what he can do. But he is now in the country, and he's looking forward to being a champ.
Do you know what?
I see Sarah, I'm loving to take that theme title this week. I'm loving it too, Paddy. If anyone wants to guess why it's a take that theme, stick it in the comments. We'll give it a wee shout out later.
Yeah, I think Davy was very keen to make sure that was the case, because I think it was very good when you put it forward there, Davy.
I don't get it.
You really don't get it? Well, we'll let the listeners or watchers have a go first.
Get it now. Get it now. Okay.
Yeah.
Get it now.
So let's start with that, actually, because before we get into the games and stuff, this week, unfortunately, we got word that after his shutout in Fife, Alexi Gravel was moved on, and he's proceeding again with other opportunities in North America, and he has been succeeded by Alex Caffey, who's come straight in after a number of seasons in the ICHL for Pioneers Vorarlberg. First of all, Davy, Alexi, we had him on the show a couple of times. Very thoughtful individual. He was very candid in his views and about the challenges, both physical and mentally, he had with different aspects of the game, and being a goalkeeper and trying to find that sort of motivation and drive to do what he does. It didn't work out maybe as we had expected for him. Really, really nice guy. He goes out with a shutout.
Yeah, listen, being a goalie in any sport is a really tough and lonely position at times. Being a hockey goalie can be double that, and coming in with the lot of weight of expectations, or you carry the weight of expectations of Tyler Bescarolanis and Stephen Murphys and different boys that have filled the pipes, and the expectations high as a Belfast Giant. Coming straight into a CHL group where we were matched against 3, 4, 5 of the very, very best teams in Europe this year, it can be a bit of a goalie killer for confidence, certainly, and it was a hard start for Gravy. Lovely fella, worked his tail off. Just sometimes it doesn't work out, and he's taken an option for an opportunity back in North America. And I haven't seen one comment on Facebook, Twitter, whatever socials that doesn't wish him anything but the best. He's made Belfast a wee part of his story. We thank him for that, and I guess we just wish him all the best for the future.
It has been announced. Big thanks to Anthony Russell for just sort of bouncing at the meme on WhatsApp. It has been announced that he has joined the South Carolina Stingrays, the CHL affiliate of the Washington Capitals. Before we get on to Alex Caffey, says let's say Gravy didn't work out for him as much as we wanted to. Great guy, but it's the cut and thrust of hockey at the minute.
Yeah, it's look, you know what? I really like Gravy. He's a good lad. In short term here, short period of time here, sorry. And he had a couple of really good appearances. Davy just mentioned, the start was always going to be really, really tough, whether that be Jackson was in net or Tyler Beskorowany was in net. We faced those top teams in the CHL, and I think it was 4 games he played in the CHL, and that when you get those, and you just want to get off to a really good start and try and get a win under your belt as quick as possible. And he didn't really get that until I think it was October before he got his first win. And it can, the mental side of things as a goalie is a really important part of it. And when you look at the form that Jackson was in, and the way he's even look at the last season, the way Jackson was playing, and then obviously coming into this year, and we talked about Jackson up until unfortunately he got hurt, literally just as we were talking about how good he's been. And it's a really difficult position. But the bottom line is, you've got to win, and the record that Gravy has, I think he probably would have wanted a few more W's in that column. And it's important that he's now moved on. We've now got somebody else in, and we've sort of got to concentrate on moving forward. And ultimately, as I say, it's about silverware at the Belfast Giants, and we want to be in for every trophy that we play in. So thanks very much to Gravy for his efforts as a Giant. Best of luck, and it has been announced about South Carolina, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's on their website, South Carolina Stingrays.
Yeah, so I was speaking to him yesterday, and then organising to get him to the airport and what have you. So he's certainly enjoyed his time in Belfast. He's now moved on, and he'll be part of our history forever. And that's as I say, thank you to Gravy, and best of luck to Gravy and Melissa for that.
Yeah, and in comes Alex Caffey, 35-year-old, Austrian, Italian. He's got Austrian and Italian passports. Went through the system at HC Lugano. Quite an extensive career in Italy. Was also the Italian goalkeeper for quite a number of years with World Championships and Internationals. Dipped his toe in Switzerland, but now after a bit of time in Austria, says here he is with us.
Yeah, as I say, I picked him up at the airport in Dublin today. Really nice fella. Really looking forward to the challenge, and he played he was on the bench for his last game there, and for the Pioneers on Sunday. Their season's now finished, so it's really good timing. We're looking around, as I say, when the situation with Gravy sort of started to look around, and we found out about that. We needed to move quickly, and we've managed to pick up a very experienced goaltender in Alex. And look, we talk about where we are at the minute with regards to Jackson Whistle, Jake Kupski. Let's not forget Andre Dixon, who's been a massive part of the club now for nearly 15
100%.
years. It's whoever be putting that net for tomorrow night or Saturday or Sunday or moving forward. We're hopefully going to have the right guy, and as I said, we just mentioned about Gravy, it's about winning. Alex has got a lot of experience around, as I say, Switzerland and Italy, and he's Italian, with an Austrian passport. He's been around the Austrian league now for a number of years. Played with Steve Orr, he played with Ollie Cooper and Jacob Friend. And they told him about how good a city Belfast was. He also talked about his friend and his assistant coach in the Pioneers. And he mentioned to him a few days ago about the opportunity to come to Belfast. This guy played in Glasgow, and he said, "You gotta go. Belfast is fantastic. The stadium's unbelievable." He says that the organization seems like a real top notch, and he said very, very positive things about it. So, really picked him up today. He's really looking forward to the challenge, and yeah, hopefully you'll be on the ice tomorrow morning for practice, and we'll see where we're at.
Given the situation we're in, Davy, as well, and with Jackson Whistle out for we don't know how long, we've got the Challenge Cup to go for tomorrow with regards to semi-final. Plus, we're in a strong position with the league. Jake Kopsky's been doing very well, and Dicko is Dicko, but and as a fantastic servant to the club. But having Alex Caffey come in is good to have that sort of solidifying and that goalie tandem.
Well, depth anywhere at this time of season is crucial, because undoubtedly there'll be knocks and bumps and bruises along the way, and Adam and Steve and obviously the organisation have moved quickly, and they've got themselves a decent goalie from Austria, Italy, and Simon has mentioned there that he's came referenced from other players that have played here before, players that know the organisation, and he's came with a level of confidence from them. So hopefully he can do something good between the pipes for us.
A question for you, Davy. Maybe you can't answer straight off the bat, but maybe you, Sam. Have we ever had a season with 5 goalkeepers? I can't think of one. Like
the only season, so I would say yes, because we had a season where Mike Menard, Chris McGempsey, Nathan Craze, David Shields, Jason Ellery all played.
Yeah, you went for the Shields element there. You went for the David Shields element there. That's a good shout, that actually. Well, no, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Well, I never
thought of that. Yeah,
thank you.
Hey, listen.
Any harder questions? Questions?
If anybody was going to get it, it's the stat man.
As Roy King would say, mate.
That's your job.
That's your job.
Dear. Oh, we do. And before we crack into the games, Simon got Alex Caffey to send us a bit of a note for you.
Hi, Giants fan. I'm Alex Caffey. I just arrived in Belfast, and I'm really excited to meet all of you tomorrow at the game.
I want to know where he got those sunglasses. They look absolutely stunning.
He couldn't get enough me. He arrived in the Dublin airport with him today, so yeah.
Cracking pair of shades. I'm sorry, Davey, I cut you off. You were about to say something.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So actually, you might have won, Paddy, because you asked me about the 5 goalies this season, but of course we've had 6 because Petter backed up earlier in the season in Nottingham as well.
And don't forget,
there might have been 7.
Shearer backed up. Neil Shearer backed up in the season as well. Yeah.
7 goalie season.
When Fife Scissor went Dundee, I was there. I was there.
So
that's 7 goalies in this season. So we haven't had
all the Twitter sleuths who've been looking at who we've been signing and how many imports and how many. They're all now going, wait a minute, how many have you got? 7 goalies this season. That's just
as we would say, Simon, we're the Belfast Giants.
You do what we want.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Let's crack it. Let's crack in these games, lads. We had 2 over the weekend. It was a home game on Friday against the Sheffield Steelers before travelling on Sunday away to face the Fife Flyers. Let's get that Sheffield 3-1 win for the Belfast Giants. Let's hear from the coaches.
Yeah, I think everybody was pulling the rope, as I like to say today. I thought we had a good start. We won the first period, won the second period there. There was probably a 10-minute spell there in the second period where they had a lot of possession. I thought we were doing a good job defending from within it. Not giving them a ton. I thought they probably had better looks in the first period than they did in the second. Maybe a bit more possession in the second. We had plenty of looks in the first as well, and then I think at the end of that second period, obviously, they take a penalty, and on the ensuing delayed penalty call, we get that one. They kind of stop playing and leave Gabe Bass all alone in the slot there. It's not a wise play, and I think that one, obviously, that's the difference in the game, really, right? They get one on the power play, and we are able to see that one out. And that's what I really liked about our game. There's, they get the power play goal. I thought we, for the most part, we killed that well. And then they get that one that can put your heads down and maybe make the team feel a little bit nervous about the next 9 minutes. But I thought from that next 9 minutes, I thought we controlled the run of play as much as we could have. We bent a little bit, and Cupper was good. And specifically when they got the goalie out, I thought we had some real key blocks and good stick on puck to make sure that they didn't get really much there, and I thought that was a key moment. You got to learn how to win all sorts of ways, and that's one of them. It's a tight game. Most playoff games are going to be like that. We have to be able to withstand pressure and do the right things from within it, and I thought the guys did that tonight.
I hated our start. I thought the first 6-7 minutes you guys were all over us, and we felt like a little bit like the last time we were here, that first 6 or 7 minutes. I felt like, after that, though, we found our footing. I think the shots were 12-3, you guys, at that point in the game. And I thought, from there on, I thought we played really, really well, to be perfectly honest with you. I know we gave up a goal late in the first. Second period, I thought we were actually the better team by quite a bit, even though we lose a period. Get a power play there and make you guys pay there. I think that's our second PP in 3 games that we were here over these 3-game stretch. So nice to get one back. And then I thought we pushed hard. You guys defend really, really hard and aggressive, and you make year and everything. You will give some stuff up with how aggressive you play at times. Corms has a breakaway there. We miss a couple on the back door late, just a little out of reach. But I mean, I can't say enough about the effort and the pushback that we had Wednesday into tonight. It doesn't get any easier with Cardiff on Sunday. Us getting back pretty late tomorrow. So, all in all, disappointed that, this was an opportunity for us to close the gap. If you take these 3 games that we've lost to you guys, that's right now the difference in the standings. But that's hockey. Can't be too disappointed with how hard we played and the level of compete that we had tonight. There was definitely buy-in throughout. But you're obviously going to be pretty disappointed with the result.
A 3-1 win for the Belfast Giants, meaning the Giants complete a clean sweep over the Sheffield Steelers at home. The Steelers will take nothing from the SSE this season. Goals for the Belfast Giants: JJ Pickenic, Gabe Bass, David Goodwin in the empty netter for the Sheffield Steelers. Stephen Harper got their only marker in the third period. Jake Kupski in nets for the Belfast Giants. Matthew Greenfield was in nets for the Steelers. Andy Dalton and Vitas Luksevicius were your referees. I'd say, David, other than maybe parts of the third period, where the Sheffield Steelers seemed to look as if their season was on the line and started to play a bit, I'd say for the rest of this game, I didn't feel that there was anything other than a Belfast Giants win coming.
Yeah, listen, if you want to listen to both the coaches there and talk about the playoff style of game that I think it was, you have to be, especially if you're playing a home playoff game, you've got to be out of the traps quick. And I thought we came out of the traps superbly well on Friday night. I thought we were really, really strong for that first period of the game. Obviously, getting the go-ahead goal was massive for us. I take a little bit of umbrage with what Aaron Fox was saying about power plays. It was his 3rd power play in 3 games. We got 3 power play in 3 games as well. It's real tight discipline from both teams, or maybe you talk about the referees putting their whistles in their pockets and letting the boys play, which is what you want. So you can't come back and complain about it too much. Both teams had 3 power plays across the 3 games, which says a lot about discipline and how tight both teams wanted to play. But the Belfast Giants came out slightly on top of that with a 2-1, 2 power play goals to the Sheffield's ones across the 3 games. But yeah, a bit of a pushback from them in the second, which I thought we held off very well. Good goaltending from Jake Kupski again, and then into the third period, and a bit like what you're saying there, Paddy, with their season. I wouldn't go as far as saying their season on the line, because I still think there's a lot of twists and turns and corners to go around this league yet, but they needed to come and get something from that game, and I felt the urgency perhaps wasn't there as much as I expected it to be. Put it more like that. But I'm very delighted with 2 points at this stage of the season. It's just about keeping the train running here and just trying to pick up 2 points every game. You got to do that one period at a time, and I felt that with the best intentions, we came out at the start of every period like the team that wanted to win the game the most.
Urgency, that's a really good way of putting it, Simon, isn't it? It's the fact that one team looked like they had it and the other team only started to get it when the game was sort of starting to run away from them.
We talk about how other teams, will come into Belfast and they have a game plan. Listen, we've got game plans for everything we do as well. And, I thought we started the game really, really well. You know, the Steelers had. I do agree with Aaron Fox. I do think they were the better team, especially maybe after the first 5 minutes in the second period. They were the better team in the second period. They had a lot of good chances. Greenfield was outstanding most of the night. You know, we made him work for it for sure. But then so was Copper. I'm sick and tired of teams basically coming into Belfast, and you know everybody says that how good they are. We're a flipping good team as well. I'm just, honest to God, I just don't understand. You don't get to the top of the league by being average. You get
I don't think anybody's saying that we're bad, sis. But
no,
but to be top, but hold on, but to be top of the league, you have to be good. Absolutely, you do. But you also have to beat good teams.
Of course you do.
What we did on Friday night against the Sheffield Steelers was exactly that. Sheffield are a good team. I don't make no bones about saying that. We are a better team, and that's why we took the win.
That's it. That's exactly it. You know, we are a decent team. You know, do we? Is it every single night? No, but at the end of the day, there's more often than not. And you know, we had with some really, really good chances, especially in the first period. I think at one point I think it was 12 shots to 2 or 12 shots to 3 at one point in the first period. And, you know, Greenfield had a lot to do, and we played really well. I thought we played really well throughout. Sheffield again had that 10-minute period in the second, and they had a couple of breakaway chances where Copper come up and made a couple of huge saves, especially late in the third. But, you know, you get what you deserve in this league, and you know, we came out on top because we were the best team. That's it. You know, I listened to Darren Fox's interview after that game, and then if you listen to it after the Cardiff game, he's literally saying, "Oh, you know, they've got a couple." He actually starts to sound like Kevin Keegan a wee bit. You know, I would love it if they basically beat us, love it. But look, there's 9 other teams in this league who would love to be where we are. I said this last week. It's one game at a time, and we took those 2 games at the weekend, one game at a time. We came out on top against Sheffield, where at that point, you know, the big thing about that was not giving them that extra point. That was massive, really, really big. And David Goodwin getting that goal, you know, with 1.4 seconds remaining in the game.
And happy birthday to him.
Pardon me?
And a happy birthday to him.
And a happy birthday's right. You know,
always scores on his birthday. Always scores his birthday, Gaudet, every year.
On coming out on top is massive, and you know it was a full team effort on was that Friday night? Yeah, Friday night against Sheffield. You know, everybody, as Adam keeps on saying, was pulling the rope, and we got exactly what we deserved, and that was 2 points.
2 lovely goals as well. We talked about the great goal from David Goodwin on his birthday to seal the deal at 3-1. But Davy, just a word of for JJ's goal, which was a lovely break down the right hand side, and just Greenfield didn't see it. And then you've got on the delayed penalty, Bast with a blast.
Yeah, look, we've seen that a very similar style of same move from JJ many times, breaking down that right wing, just getting to the top of the circles with the hash marks and roofing it from there. We know how many times have Simon said he's sneaky tough, or I've said he's sneaky fast, and he's got an unbelievable release and an unbelievable shot. And a goaltender as good as Matt Greenfield, square on the shooter, getting beat top ends from that distance tells you the quality of the shot. And then the second goal, I guess, the big point for me is when Bo gets taken down, the speed that he gets back up, and Sheffield just switched off. It only takes you to switch off for 2 or 3 seconds in this game, and the puck's in the back, and they switched off. I don't know if they were expecting a whistle or whatever they thought, but it's rimmed around the boards and it's put on the Basti stick. And you know, I'm sure we'll talk about Basti later in the show, but he finishes. He's got an absolute bomb. So he does that right-handed stick, just flexes so back and just top of the circles again, and it's past Greenfield before he even moves. So, and that got us, 2-0 at that stage. Not a power play goal, but albeit scored with the extra man on the ice. So, not a 2-0, and I thought we really controlled the game. But just to reiterate what we said at the start, we started every period, Simon saying about, one game at a time, and I'd said it as well, one period at a time, even at this stage of the season. It's just so crucial that we'll come out there. It is just an absolute blast from the top of the circles and
finish.
But Davey, you're absolutely right, Davey. That when Bo was taken down there, Sheffield just stopped. Southorn had the chance to basically stop the puck going around the wall. If you watch this play, and anybody watching the video, he falls down. Bo gets back up again, rims it around the wall. Look at Southorn in the bottom right-hand corner. He just lets it go. He just if he touches that puck that goal does not happen and it stays 1-0, yes, we'll go on to the power play. But
even
I'm
not even sure who that is. I'm not even sure who that is backing off in the middle when you'll see it here from a different angle. When Brandon picks it off the wall and just plays the square pass. I know you either get, to me, that's one for a defender to get in the way off and try and block, but he hasn't got out of the way of the goal. He's just sort of ambling backwards. It's not a.
Yeah, it looks like Harper. But the big thing about it is you want your goalie seeing that puck from the top.
But you're either going to give your goalie a big view of it, get out of the way, but he just sort of
either that or commit.
It's Harper behind the net.
So what? No, just out here right in the slot. He's just like here. I don't know if he's just expecting Greenfield to save that, but it's a 70-foot shot.
Again, you have two options. You either get out of the way and let your goalie see the shot, or you go balls deep and you basically.
Well, mate, I tell you now, we talked about it last week about Gooch, about Jake, about different guys that will eat pucks for this team if there's 3 seconds left in the game. And that, to me, if you're champion, if your league's on the line, your season's on the line there, put your body in front of that.
Well, that's just
we even look when they come into the zone, when the Steelers come into the zone and the Richie sticks a stick out and Bo falls over, you could throw a blanket over the 5 of them. You know, we had 2 guys already in the zone and they weren't even paying attention at that point. But look, the bottom line is we took advantage of it. Basti, absolutely hammered one top corner. And, we doubled our lead, which is huge going into the third period.
And one thing before we leave this game behind, and somebody you talk about Southorn there in the corner, he tangles after he misses it. He has a bit of a tangle there with number 9, Ben Lake. And you mentioned about people eating pucks. Back end of this game says not that long to go in the game, and an absolutely remarkable block from Ben Lake, putting his body on the line once again for this club in order to get that win.
Tell me something I don't know.
I know you don't. I know you're not a big fan of Ben Lake, but I thought
anyway. Absolutely love Laker. But you get what you get from Laker every single night. His points distribution over the last number of years maybe have went down if compared to what he was at the first couple of seasons. But he comes up in other different ways, and that one was absolutely huge. And even after that, you see that this is I actually think this might be the power play where. You don't even. I don't think you see the block and the highlights, but if you watch it coming right down to the last few seconds, Roche blocks one going through to Copper as well, and then the puck bounces out. He manages to get. I think JJ goes to the wall, and the puck bounces free for Roche to clear. He manages to clear. Goody stretches onto it and puts it in the empty net. So it's this time of the year, as I say, you're sacrificing your body for your teammates and. Seeing that play happen with Laker, you guys couldn't see it at home on the webcast, but when anybody in the arena, if they were watching the bench after that, when Laker blocked that shot, everybody in the Giants bench was up giving it stacks. And that's exactly what you're looking for. There was high fives galore when he was getting to the bench as well. Fantastic.
David, you wanted to come in there?
It was the Scissors already covered it off there. It's the block from Roche at the end there. It's actually pretty much Cupper's coming across to try and save it. I think it's going to go into the net, and Roche's just put himself in front of it, and then he's able to get a bit like Bo. He's able to get up and get back into play, activate that puck up the ice, and Goody's able to seal the win with a few seconds left. But talk about the Sheffield Steelers not being willing to just do whatever it takes. Belfast Giants.
Sorry, just one more thing, Paddy. See if you watch the goal again. Yeah, that's the play there. Watch the JJ pitcher man. Goody goes for the chance. Watch Goody if he shows you the coming around, he comes around the back of the net. There's nobody anywhere near him to celebrate the goal because they're all going to Copper. They're all going to Copper. 1.4 seconds to go to basically celebrate the win because he was absolutely outstanding Friday night.
He was.
Here it is here. So, that's the Laker one. That's the Lake one.
Fantastic. Well, that's a big shot.
And then this one comes in. I think this is the.
I'm going to try and pause it because to me it looks like he's got an empty net to shoot into here. I'm sure it
comes over to the right.
So, yeah, that's it there. So he's got a clear net to shoot into there.
And Roche puts a body in the line. And Roche, who's had a difficult season, missed a lot of games through injury. He's only really getting himself back and getting his legs on it. You can train as much as you want, but there's nothing like real gameplay. Starting to get those wheels going again, and
Can you post that message up? Put that message up that Anthony is put on. Well, the Steelers blanket.
You can throw a blanket over the five. You can throw a blanket over the five of them, and that blanket is available in the Steelers Club shop, just £30. Dear. You can get the highlights from this game from, of course, our good friends at Belfast Giants TV. Well worth watching. Very enjoyable game as it was. Right, let's go to our first guest, our only guest of tonight. A man who's been on before, that's been doing really well this season. He has. I had his stats up there. So yes, it's 34 points from the 48 games. Please welcome Jake Gaudet. How you doing, man?
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Not well. Thanks for coming on. You were listening in the background there as we were just talking about the back end of that game with regards to Roche and Ben Lake and the blocks that are put in. From your point of view, you're in the bench. How important is that sort of element of the game and seeing your teammates, like yourself, throwing their body on the line to try to just make sure that you win that game?
Yeah, it's huge. I think it sends a message to the rest of the team, right? That everyone's willing to kind of do the little things to put team success ahead of some individual pain in the moment, and it gets the bench going. It kind of sets the precedent, and I think it kind of sums up a lot of the team vibe that's been going on lately on the ice.
I guess when you're in a position when you're, obviously I said earlier on, Sheffield, who are normally relatively successful, not successful as us, but relatively successful. When you've dispatched them 3 times at home and the only 3 visits they're going to have, that and that you're sitting where you are in the league table. Even little things like that just bolster what is already, no doubt, a very confident dressing room.
Yeah. I think, you look at the 3 times we've played Sheffield at home. I don't think they've played particularly poorly for whatever reason. We've, put some pucks in the net and capitalized on some chances where, maybe we're outperforming kind of. I think you hear Kiefer talk about it a little bit in the post-game comments where Sheffield hasn't come in and played poorly. I think we've capitalized on some chances, but yeah, it's, there's tight margins in the league, especially with the 4 kind of big teams there with Nottingham and Cardiff as well, where on any given night, it can come down to kind of 1 or 2 chances and small little details. So, the blocks, even just, being solid in the defensive zone, getting pucks across the blue lines, when it comes down to playing winning hockey, I think that's, it can be a huge difference maker. And I think we've, done a good job trying to limit the mistakes and playing kind of consistently as a team throughout some of those big games.
Jake, I'm sure you will have done your due diligence on Belfast before you signed here, but there's a weight of expectation at this club that it's going to be involved in winning campaigns every year. And just there's a weight of playing for the Giants that every single game matters. And you came through, 50-something games now, and we're into the last 15 games of the season. And every single game now is just a playoff final. Yeah,
it's definitely different and kind of unique to, I guess, the European format too, where the regular season is the championship. It's something I'm not used to, but it's fun. I think it puts some emphasis on the games, where it's kind of the dog days in December or November, even where you kind of lose sight of what the end goal is. Maybe in an American League format, when you have 72 games, it's easy to be like, oh, you shake that one off and you end up in the playoffs anyways. Here, it all kind of matters, and yeah, it's been fun. It's a different format. I think there's more emphasis on all the games, and it's been fun to kind of go through the process with everyone and kind of end up where we are right now on the table, and a pretty good opportunity looking forward.
Yeah, I think it was Jordan Boucher that first coined that on A View from the Bridge a number of years ago about the dog days, but it's a real thing when you go through from Halloween to probably even the end of January. Those wet, miserable days. It's always cold. It's always wet. You never see daylight. And now we're just starting to get, there's a wee turn in the days, there's a wee up in the temperature. But more than that, this is just excitement. Every game is just fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's stakes, right? You can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel. You've been working towards something. You can kind of feel it. It's sort of tangible at this point. And yeah, the weather just makes it that much better. Today we were sitting outside, a bunch of us, for basically the entire day, trying to capitalize on the sun, and you have that kind of feeling of excitement together as a team. It's special. It's not something we're taking for granted. And I think, we're excited for the last 14, 13 games, 12 games, just to kind of, put it all on the line here in the last stretch.
Jake, get you here, big fan. You look around what you've done so far this season. It's been you talk about the CHL, you talk about the league and the Challenge Cup. We move to the Challenge Cup tomorrow night. a game which should have played a couple of weeks ago, but you've got the opportunity now and one game away from winning the championship. What was practice like today? Are the boys all ready for it tomorrow night?
Yeah, I think so. Practice, I mean, it's hard to – I struggle with the single game sometimes where, you want to put so much emphasis on it and make sure that you're perfect. At the end of the day, you want to go out there and you're playing a hockey game and you need to – you need to win in regulation, basically, is what we need to do in order to get to at least overtime. But no, I thought today was a good day. Vibes are good in the rink. We kind of know what's at stake. We're comfortable as a team. And I think, at the end of the day, we've played Coventry a lot. And I think we match up well against them. They're a really good team. They played well against us this year. But no, we got a happy group. We're excited for a big opportunity. And it's exciting just to get the chance to play tomorrow night at home, but then to also have the chance to get to host the Challenge Cup finals if tomorrow goes well.
When you look at the way things have gone and this season, and then when you get towards, as I say, you get towards those bits of silverware that are up for grabs, and towards the end of the season, it's not so much about practice; it's literally about games. Maybe getting a 10 or 15 minute skate to get the legs going most mornings, but you're really getting to a point now where you can grasp out at it. I know the league program, we're in a really good spot, a Challenge Cup and again the playoffs, and there must be that buzz around the locker room. And I know what it's like, obviously, but for the people watching at home, there must be that buzz around the locker room when you do have those opportunities, and while you don't want to look too far ahead, you've got a chance to grasp something here that when you win as a team, it's guys that you'll never forget down the line. But you must be feeling pretty good about yourselves and the boys in the room.
Yeah, no, I think it's obviously an exciting opportunity. It's not something we take for granted. And yeah, we definitely haven't practiced a lot. We've played a ton of games. I don't know about the 10 to 15 minutes of skating. We might have to get you to talk to Adam about that one, because I think it's probably more like 30 or 35. No, it's been good. It's exciting. I think, you play so many games, so many days where, the practice is almost a formality to kind of make sure that you're moving around. And if you have to make any, real big changes at this point in the year, you probably have some bigger issues. So no, it's really fun. At the end of the day, we're all hockey players that enjoy playing the game more so than practicing, right? So just to kind of get to go out there and do that every day with a pretty fun group in the locker room, and being an opportunity that we have right now to kind of have some success as a team and realize it is an exciting opportunity. I think it's something we're all pretty pumped to get to go do.
Hockey can be quite transient, and none so we've seen that this week with Gravy heading out the door, but Alex Caffey coming in. When you see guys you've spent most of the season with, but then that time comes with just like maybe it's not working out, and they have to go out the door. They're going, he's off to South Carolina Stingrays in the coast. But when you lose a teammate like that, moving on like that, is it a difficult thing to do? A difficult thing to see him go, and then having somebody else come in to I guess take his place?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's also just kind of unique to professional hockey where, it's kind of just the nature of the job and the profession where, you could be best buddies with someone one day and you get shipped off to, play in a different country the next day. So I think it's something we're all aware of, but it doesn't make it any easier. We all loved Gravy. I thought he did a great job, but for us this year, he's a great teammate, and it wasn't always easy for him, kind of having the short end of the stick a few times in terms of playing time. But I thought he handled it great. He's a really good dude, someone we're going to keep in touch with. And he was pretty well-spoken, kind of announcing that news to us. I think he, appreciated his time here and wished he could have stayed. But for his career, he has to go kind of take an opportunity elsewhere. And, we're all excited for him. I hope he does really well.
Davy mentioned it there about that and the chase for championship, and the chase for championships and lifting the trophy, and all being well in the next number of weeks. We'll be seeing David Goodwin going out there and lifting trophies. And then tell me about the hunger for trophies, because you're no stranger to it, Jake. That Frozen Four with UMass and lifting the trophies. Getting that hunger when you first get that taste for success, that hunger to have success again, it doesn't leave you.
No, it doesn't. And that's where, I think some of the format here, where it's kind of a one-game championship in a sense, it reminds me a lot of college, where it's very high stakes, right? You play a really good hockey team, you match two really good hockey teams up, you can kind of have any result on any given day, right? There's a lot of parity, especially in this league. And the format's similar to college where, I think you have to limit the amount of mistakes that you make. It's such a slim margin of error we talked about earlier. When you play, you play a really good team many, many times. It's hard to beat them every time. But it's exciting. Going back to your point, when we won at UMass my last year, I was a senior. It's the last time I had the jersey on. It's something that, I think about. It's one of my favorite moment playing hockey was being close to those guys.
It must be like in the to have that jersey on and at the Frozen Four and to lift that championship. It must be a phenomenal feeling. That.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got together for the first time since last summer, and just it was like no time's passed, right? Especially when you win, you kind of cement that friendship and the brotherhood for a long time. And just knowing that and kind of having that experience, we've got a few guys that have had success at that stage on our team. I think we have a pretty good measure on how exciting that could be. And it's important to all of us to kind of capitalize on the opportunity that we've earned so far.
With all that being said, Jake, how easy is it to play the game and not the occasion? Tomorrow night's a big occasion. How easy is it to just go out there and focus on it's a game of hockey?
Yeah, I think that's where some of the experience comes down to it. I've played in big single game situations before. I think a lot of us have, right? If you're playing at this level and you've played for a long time, you've probably been in a situation similar. But like we were kind of saying earlier, it's well, even you said it, Davy, it's period by period in some of these important games where, you're going out there, you're focused on the first, kind of doing what you need to do to be successful, and just kind of shift by shift basis. And I think, we've been through a lot of kind of tight situations, especially lately and late in the third period, kind of in close games where, I think kind of going through those experiences, it can always help you once the stakes kind of get higher in a game with, real consequences on the line.
Well, it's a big, as Davey says, big game tomorrow night. We've got a big couple of weeks, and interesting that it's going to be, 2 against Cardiff, 2 against Sheffield, 2 against Glasgow, 2 against Nottingham, all of which with high consequences with regards to lifting that title. Jake, we really appreciate you taking the time. Good luck tomorrow night. Good luck on this stretch, and hopefully we'll be seeing you lifting another trophy.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Jake.
Didn't I forget to do Player of the Month with him? Didn't I forget? Wasn't supposed to do Player
Get him
of the
back.
Month. He's gone now. Don't worry, we'll do. We'll come to Player of the Month later once we've talked about the game against the Fife Flyers. It was a 3-0 win for the Belfast Giants on Sunday. The Fife Flyers, who had lost their coach in Jamie Russell, who had departed in saying he could no longer in good conscience coach this team. And interesting times of new ownership, changing ownership, and now changing coach with Mike Court involved and in charge of that team. It was a 3-0 win for the Belfast Giants. It wasn't very straightforward for the Belfast Giants in the beginning, but let's hear what the coaches had to say about it.
I don't think the scoreline really reflected the game that we had tonight. I'm hella proud of the guys for the effort that they put in. It's a long trip. They come back, they shook off the bus legs, got some rest, and they went to work. We had a chat about what we wanted to tighten up from last night's game, and I felt like we really did that tonight. And we pushed back, and we gave a very good Belfast team a run for their money all the way to the end. And I think we kind of gassed out at the end there. A couple of costly goals. I think when you look at it as a whole, actually, our power play, we've got power play last night, power play tonight again. If we manage to capitalise on one of those or two of those, then it's a different game for us. So that would be something we're looking to work on going forward. And I think we tighten up that area. We keep working on the bits that we've identified last night as key points for us. I think we could have a decent push to the end of the season here.
I didn't love it. Obviously I love the outcome, and I love probably since we got the second goal, I thought we were playing like ourselves there to make sure that we got out of that game. I thought we we had carried the run of the play there in the last 5 minutes there until they got the goalie out. I thought even when they got the goalie out, we made some real big blocks. I thought Alexis Gravel was great tonight, clean sheet. Almost got the empty netter there with the shot. I thought Shane Owen played well as well. Good game of hockey. Obviously, I would have preferred it was, we got the 2-goal lead early on, but we built into that slowly. And at the end of the day, the 2 points is massive points for us at this time of the year. Like I said, some big performances there. We got 2 clutch goals there from Conway, Goodwin, and JJ, and then Carson had a big goal there. He was blocking shots and doing double duty there for us at the end. So all in all, big 2 points here on the road, and I thought Fife was good. I thought they competed hard all night. I know they're going through some things, and obviously they had a short bodied, so I thought they made us work for everything we had to get tonight.
Goals for the Belfast Giants: JJ Pickenich, Scott Conway, and Carson Truinski. And nets was Shane Owen for the Fife Flyers, and Alexei Gravel in his last appearance for the Belfast Giants with a 24-shot shutout. Your referees were Pavel Hallis and Daniel Ferguson. It's such a difficult situation for the Fife Flyers at the minute. As I said, they've lost their head coach. Mike Courts has come in. His roles in the last number of years, his roles were an analyst, and then this year he's been a video coach, an analyst, an assistant coach, and now he's the interim head coach. What's happening? In fact, they didn't have Lucic play in his game over the weekend either. It's an interesting scenario in Fife, but needless to say, Simon, regardless of what Fife are doing, Belfast Giants still had to go in there and take a win. While it was tight to begin with, it was a 3-0 victory. We heard from Adam Keefe there. He didn't like the outcome. He didn't like the performance, but he loved the outcome.
That's basically nailed on. It wasn't our best performance this season. I touched on it 10 minutes ago when we were talking about the Sheffield game. We can't always be perfect, but you just got to do, when you get to this stage of the season, you've just got to grind it out and go out and win. Fife's a tough place to go into. They've beat us there already this season. They beat Sheffield there. I think they beat Cardiff there as well. They're a tough team to play against, and they're, let's be honest, they're sort of just playing for pride right now. They're never going to make the playoffs. I'm pretty sure, are they out of the playoffs completely? Or, unless they win everybody and everybody else lose every game the rest of the season. They're out of the playoffs. It's been a really difficult year for them. They've just lost their coach compared to, losing players and other off-ice things that have happened. So it's been a really difficult season for Fife. Hopefully, the group. You know what? We talked about this the same time last year, when they were really struggling to basically finish the year there as well. And obviously the new owners come in and they've now got a grasp on hopefully saving themselves for getting ready for next year. And look, it's been a tough year, but the bottom line is we've just done what we needed to do. Good for Gravy. Gravy getting a shutout in his last game for the Giants, and that was a big thing because there was a couple of really important saves that he had to make to get that shutout. And you talk about players, blocking shots. I don't know how many blocks we had on Sunday, Davy. You might be able to have a look at that, but is that 8 or
9?
10? Yes. 8 blocks, and a number of them were important blocks. So great to get the victory. Great to get out unscathed, and I actually think there might have been 1 or 2 guys with 1 or 2 eyes on Wednesday night.
That's interesting. Do you think, David, do you agree? Do you think there were lads who were just sort of thinking themselves, it's only 5? Let's just save ourselves.
No, did Simon say that?
He said he thought there were some lads who were saving themselves for Wednesday.
I didn't. I said 1 or 2 eyes on Wednesday night. I didn't say
eyes on Wednesday night. Oh, okay.
Don't let the truth get in the way of a good story, Paddy.
Just trying to stir some shit, man.
A little bit like I talked about last week. It felt a little bit transactional. It felt like we knew what we had to do. I actually felt there might be a little bit more from us in terms of them having to go the whole way to Cardiff and the whole way back. Us coming in a little bit fresher than I would expected them to be. But, at the same time, we limited them to 4 shots in each of the first 2 periods, which is fantastic. When they had that real push back at the end where they pulled the goalie quite early, we blocked a lot of shots. Gravy come up with a couple of real top drawer saves It goes to 2-1 at that stage. We've lost in that barn already that season. It can get squeaky bum time, as Alex Ferguson called it once, but we're able to hold it out to 2-0. Gravy comes to within, I would say, 18 inches of a goalie goal. He gets the puck down and he throws it, and the D-man manages to come across and take it sort of chest high and get it down. And what a way that would have been to sign off as the Belfast Giants goaltender. We've never had one, but we did what we had to do. We got our shower and we got in the bus and we got out of there. That's 2 big points. I am still convinced that Fife will take points off, different people before the end of the season. Kirkcaldy is not an easy place to go because it's not a nice place to go and play hockey. It's difficult changing rooms. It's difficult travel day for whoever goes there. It's not the easiest rink to get to. Not the warmest place. It's not the driest place. And you just have to get on with it. And some teams will thrive in that, and some teams will feel the pressure of that. But I think we went in there for the last time this season. We took the points and we got out. So 4-point weekend. Let's go.
A place that we found difficulty at times this season, I have to say.
Every from 2005 when we first started going there. I think the first time we went there, did we draw 6 each or something crazy in the crossover cup?
Crossover cup.
We
lost in overtime, didn't we?
6-5.
We lost in overtime. Yeah, I remember the game. I don't remember the outcome. I remember being there, and I remember the crack that was had. It was.
I'm near sure. It says be. I'm near sure they still had the netting up rather than plexi.
Yes, there was no plexi. There was no plexi at that stage. Because what I remember was there was a play in the corner where Mel Angelstad had the puck in the corner for the Belfast Giants, and he had 2 players coming in, and he flipped it out. Right, and the lads around us were like going, you gotta learn to play proper hockey. Went nuts. About 5 minutes later, one of their players in the corner does exactly the same thing, so we start going nuts. We were having a good crack with the Fife.
We played in Fife with the Castlereagh Knights. I think it was. Pretty sure it was the BNL. What's up?
Nothing to carry on there.
All right, cowboy. I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was the BNL season. And there was a guy. Well, Frank Morris. You probably remember Frank Morris. Frank Morris is a really good player, and he hit me behind the net. And when I was wearing the face cage, remember the wee clips you used to have on the helmet to basically keep the face mask in place. It caught in the netting, and I couldn't get away from the net. It was literally, my helmet was basically caught in the net itself. I couldn't get away from it. They screwed up the ice, end up flipping scoring, and I'm still trying to get out the helmet. Had to take the helmet off to get the bloody thing unhooked. Felt like a right twat.
I'm sure it was fine. What I will say to you, the one thing about Mike Courts has taken on the step forward and taken on not an ideal scenario for anybody in Fife to have that. But one thing about it is Davy is he's a Kirkcaldy lad taking control of his hometown team.
That's the stuff of dreams, isn't it? It's like you, me, or Simon having the chance to stand behind the bench with Belfast Giants, and something you've dreamed of, but it'll never ever happen, and just the way sliding goes to life works.
Could you imagine the disaster that would happen to
suddenly, something happens. Adam's got a prior range date, and we've got Simon, can you jump on the bench there tonight? I'm sure they would probably ask. They might ask George, Stewie, or Mace first, but Simon fourth in line. But yeah, stuff of dreams. That, and fair play to him. You can't say he hasn't put his time in Kirkcaldy either, or for Scottish hockey. So it's nice to see that Scottish voice behind the bench as well.
Have you had to run a bench this? How difficult is it if you have?
Yeah, we did it with the Dundalk Bulls, and then the coach of Dublin Flyers when the Dundalk rink was open as well. But
I also say I have seen Simon on the bench, absolutely going apoplectic at Roberto in the ice bowl and rec hockey. One of his best friends of 40 years. Absolutely ripping about apart at 11 o'clock at night on a Sunday night. 50
35 years.
35,
40.
okay. So that's how he treats his friends. Imagine how he would treat employees. Would be wild.
Well,
I love that.
We have an HR department, so we're not allowed to do things like that. There was one there. I was going to say something. Davy, there was a couple of milestones last week for Giants players. I know you, because I always like to think that Davy should do the honour and hand the knees out.
Let me just, you talk every second when I press refresh here.
There was one for, I just sent you a WhatsApp message.
I know you did, and I'm pretty sure you're right, but I just haven't.
I am right. No, I am right.
I just haven't pressed refresh. Just give me 10 seconds. That'll give me the full. It'll give me the full SP. In. Refresh. There we go.
You're listening to A View from the Bridge, official podcast of the Belfast Giants.
This is
Is it 10 seconds? Like 40 years.
I had 10 seconds Davy time, so that's more like 30 seconds really. So right here we're almost there.
Well, it says you share it with him and then he can confirm.
No, I can't. It's not. I don't take. You know, Davies does all the hard work with the stats, so he deserves to put that out there before other people pick it up and retweet it.
Nobody else will know it. It's all right.
No, they will.
In his 269th game as a Belfast Giant, Scott Conway scored his 150th goal for the club. 184 assists, good for 334 points, which moves him. He sits currently in 4th place all time in the Belfast Giants. Only 2 points separates him and his bench coach, George Awada. So there's his next one to aim for.
The other thing there, Davey, was he's now 3rd in goals because that 149 took over.
Yep. Super George Awada had 149 goals. So, he sits just behind. If anybody wants to guess who the 2 top scorers are, jump in the comments there and we'll let you know whether you're right or not.
Surely one of them's obvious. Anyway,
for me to say.
And also JJ. He had a milestone last week as well.
JJ and Dave played his 200th game for the club. There's not many make that 200 club, and there's a few other big milestones coming up if boys can keep themselves in the lineup. So we'll keep an eye on those. But congratulations to JJ, 289 goals, 136 assists, good for 225 points.
I put 2 names in our chat there, Davey.
27 goals on the power play. Scott Conway, 34 goals on the power play. Let's see, Paddy.
You're right.
You're right. Give yourself a bendy bully.
but it's interesting and it's a point I was going to make with regard to you bring up Scott Conway, but it's also you would argue that earlier on in the season that we were looking at that line of Conway, Goodwin, and JJ, and they weren't firing to an extent that we would normally like to see them doing. They have the 3 of those have worked together, and the 3 of them have been so dominant in this league for a number of seasons that has brought us silverware. I don't think anybody would be. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn to say that maybe there was a point to this season where you're thinking, is it done? Is it done? Is it time to change it because maybe it wasn't firing as much as you want? In the last number of weeks, that line shows exactly what it's able to do. David,
which is a perfect segue into your Player of the Month conversation, Paddy. Let's go.
Well, then let's do that. The player. Do you want to talk hockey anymore, man?
Let's go. Let's go, partner.
The Player of the Month. We asked you to give your nominations to the Player of the Month, and your 4 nominees are Reid Irwin, number 12 JJ Piconich, number 64 David Goodwin, and number 73 Jake Kopsky. We'll open the voting on Wednesday morning, and it will run until Saturday. The vote for who you believe should be February's Player of the Month. We mentioned we got both JJ and Goody there as part of what I was chatting about. But from those 4, I'm going to choose JJ. I think that JJ has been absolutely remarkable over the last number of weeks, and it goes to just what I was saying, that maybe early in the season I was thinking to myself, is it maybe, you start to doubt, you start to think, maybe it's time. Nope. I shove that right back in the faces. There's no need to doubt, because once the actual business time comes, once these points mean when games get absolutely huge, when big games come, big players appear. And JJ, Goody, Cons, they're all been put. But JJ, you saw from that goal that he scored against the Sheffield Steelers, coming down the right wing and just the puck speed hitting the back of the net that Greenfield didn't even see it. JJ's been phenomenal. The points that he's been putting up the last number of weeks, especially through the month of February. For me, he is the Player of the Month for February. David?
Gabe Bass, number 42, but you just didn't select him on the short list. So if I have to pick, a bit like last month, I think when you have
Number 7, Reid Irwin. Simon Kitchen, who's your Player of the Month for February?
I actually think this is really difficult. Jake Kupski deserves big plaudits for coming in.
100%.
5 is it 5-0 he's not got, Davy?
Yep.
That's a great start to his career as a Giant. Goody's been, since he got married, Goody's been outstanding. He's really ramped it up, and I think I think it was 2 and 10 assists in the last 10 games, and 12 points for Goody. He's been excellent, but and Davy's touched on a lot of positives for Raider, and he's been really, really good for his first full season as a professional. He's been absolutely outstanding, and I'm going to be honest, I actually think he's right up there. I know that's difficult to see past Spike as best defenseman for ultimately this season, because I actually think Spike's the best defenseman in the league this year by a country mile. But Reid has done very, very well, and he should be up there mentions for sure with regards to our defenseman of the year for sure. But I'm going to go with JJ. I think he's got 7 goals in the last 10 games. He just, as you said, Paddy, he steps up when you really need it, and he scored the first goal there on Sunday. He got an important one on Saturday. It's getting to that point in the year when we're dependent on players like David Goodwin, Scott Conway, JJ Pickenick, and it's guys that are gonna are basically, I don't want to say drag us over the line, but get us there to where we want to get to. So tomorrow night, again, I expect another big game from JJ. He's feeling it right now, and for the February Player of the Month for me, it's JJ Pickenick.
We talked last year and in previous years many times about the Mark Cooper effect, about you needed that one player, and Coach or Simon talking about there about a player that you can put the team on their back and time out a number. Andy Owens, JJ is the 3rd person in marriage, and he's got no idea about that. But congratulations, JJ. But yeah, whenever he has been absolutely clutch. Come with the R, come with the man. We talked about Mark Cooper many times in big moments. Come big players, and JJ has done it time out a number this season. So Simon's saying about he's feeling it, and it hasn't been an easy season for him either. And Adam alluded to returning players that have won it again and again, not being able to maybe just hit the straps in September. Just takes a little bit of time to get the mindset right, to get the body right, because that summers are short now. And whether you like it or not, as we all get older, it takes longer just to be ready to go again. But my goodness, from December time or even slightly earlier, the run we've been on has been incredibly. And 10, 12, 64 have came to play. And we are blessed as an organisation that these guys chose us.
Absolutely.
One way or the other.
Voting for this will be opening on Wednesday. Reid Irwin, JJ Pickenick, the 3rd person married to Andrea Owens Pickenick. And we've got David Goodwin and Jake Kupski, all 4 very worthy nominees. Get your votes in once that goes online, and we'll hopefully pass the winner of February's Player of the Month to the winner on Saturday after the game against the Cardiff Devils. Right, starting off, look at a couple of other things. Dops are alive. Dops are alive. We haven't seen anything really significant from them. It's so much I'm going to play this thing. You know what I mean? We haven't heard anything from Dops in what feels like months. Not even videos.
Dops.
I think that maybe Luke Fisher was off doing other things. Hope he enjoyed the laugh. But we now have two in the space of a day or so. Let's turn that off. The first one's cut. The first one's it's an easy one to do. It's the Tyler Bush for the Guildford Flames, who's received a 3-game ban for leaving the bench. I'm not going to ask you too much about this because I think it's we see the play coming down here. Those who are watching on, and that there's a bit of an altercation in the corner. I would put on Luke Fisher's dulcet tones, but probably
did.
And there he goes. Off he goes, straight from the bench, not on a line change, and gets involved. For leaving the bench, he's been assessed a 3-game suspension. I'm just a nod. I think. Go on. Do you want an input on that, David?
The parents first thing leave the bench. The game misconduct. I was always, Simon might correct me if I'm wrong here. Certainly in the NHL, this is like a 10-game ban. I was sure that this has happened before in the AIHL.
Minimum
with a much more heavy sanction than 3 games. Now, I'm not suggesting that I believe that's right or wrong, but I believe in the past.
It's pretty low key, though, isn't it? That's pretty low key. It's not as if it's not a major altercation. He has left the bench to get involved, but yeah.
No, you can't do that, mate.
I know you can't, but it just seems a bit.
No, I think it should be. I think it should be much, much more than a 3-game suspension, and I'll tell you why. Because it leaves an uneven number of people on the ice as well, which causes more danger and then can cause somebody else to jump off the bench. And then you've got 22 guys, 44 guys on the ice, and you've got serious injuries. I think it should be much more than a 3-game ban.
Simon?
Don't care.
It doesn't affect us, so don't care.
However, with your hockey knowledge and with your knowledge of the game, Simon.
I mean, the thing about it is he jumps the boards. And as a team on the other, the teammate of the guy that's about to get, I don't want to say attacked, but get pushed into the wall, and you're sitting on the bench, you want to go and help your teammate. And if he jumps off, if the second guy jumps off the bench to go at him, you know, it could be open a free for all. Like long gone the days where there has been bench clearance. I haven't seen one for a long time at this level or higher. You know, it's not a smart play. For 3 games, it'd be interesting to see what the next one gets. If he gets 3 games or 10 games or whatever it might be. I do agree with Davy. You know, I think there's got to be tougher sanctions that regards to, you know, if you're only going to get 3 games for it, why not do it? You know, and if you're going to do it and you're going to skate all that way into the corner, do something about it. I mean, there's no point getting into the corner and he maybe just wanted 10 days off to go on a holiday. But you know, if you're going to skate all that way, get yourself, you know, in the position where, you know, you're going to, you know, take a bad penalty for your team, go do something about it, punch the face of somebody and, you know, take a 5+, 10+ game and then get a 3-game suspension. But, you know, maybe he just got the 3-game suspension because he skated the whole way into the corner to give a dirty glove in the face.
Fair point. But he's got a 3-game ban. And the other one from Dops comes for it's Brent Harris of the Nottingham Panthers.
I'll read this, Paddy, so you can go. Nottingham Panthers, Brendan Harris was under supplementary disciplines category 3. He is a stick-on-stick play, illegal stick-on-stick play there that just breaks his 300-pound stick and he sort of tosses it down and goes in the direction of the referee who does not like that. They give him a misconduct call tonight, 2-minute penalty, but supplementary discipline. After this, they must have watched it back and thought it was worse than what they decided on the night was worth 2 minutes. But here you see his stick is broken. He realizes and he has a little tosses the stick in the general direction.
He comes around, right?
You can't do that. But Paddy, take it away.
What do you call the player for us against Sheffield who slammed the plexi next to the referee?
Aaron Clark, that way?
Aaron Clark. Yeah, he got 8 games for that, is what I remember. But then that was a very much I went at the referee. I'm not convinced this is 3 games. He can't do it. Absolutely right. He got 2 minutes in the game, and you know, and then ended up having quite a consequential. This was the Challenge Cup semi-final. It was his pass that led to the goal that put them through in overtime. I can see why he's been suspended. I don't think it's a. Go on, Simon. You take it. I think I'm struggling in this one. I don't. When it comes to like throwing stuff at the referee, you can't do it. But
No,
I think
yeah, you can't be doing that. But again, I mean, it looked like a blatant penalty, getting slashed as he's going through, to put the pressure on it. I think it's a bit of frustration for not getting that call, but at that stage, as I say, the Steelers are playing really well and putting them in a really difficult position, and but you can't be doing that. The unofficial, that's a silly play by him for sure.
It is what it is. 3-game suspension for Brendan of the Nottingham Panthers. Right, let's start to wrap this up. The Belfast Giants, regards to standings in the Elite League, the Belfast Giants remain atop of the Elite League. 68 points from 42 games. They are 8 points ahead of the Sheffield Steelers, 60 from 43. Cardiff, who we will face twice this weekend, 59 points from 43. Nottingham, who lost at the weekend, they are 58 from 42. Manchester Storm would round out the teams who have all already qualified for the playoffs. 50 points from 42. Went on to the Manchester Storm, actually. I think it must be the earliest they've qualified for the playoffs in the history of the Elite League. So that's pretty good going for them. 48 from 44 for Guildford, 46 from 43 for Coventry, who are in 7th. Glasgow Clan in 8th, 45 from 43 games. And then you've got the bottom two, who are more or less going to stay the bottom two now. The Dundee Stars, 25 from 42. And the Fife Flyers, 22 from 44. 5 teams, as we say, have qualified for the postseason. Belfast, Sheffield, Cardiff, Nottingham, and Manchester. Command and lead of 8 points. The Belfast Giants, by my calculations, were they to win the Elite League, they would need 14 more points from the 12 games that they have to play. But the focus now shifts to tomorrow night against the Coventry Blaze, the second leg of the semi-final of the Challenge Cup. The Coventry Blaze have a 1-goal lead going into that, Simon. David said it earlier on to Jake Gaudet. It's a big occasion, but you have to focus on the game.
Listen, we win a game tomorrow night. We've got a real strong chance of winning the get through to the final, and having that card dangled in front of you to potentially hold a final in your own building. We've had that feeling before, and seeing the post from the Elite League, which I know you're probably going to go on to talk about. Having that.
I'm going to mention it in just a second.
Yeah, having that opportunity to get a final and 2 games away from a potential trophy. This boy should be well up for this tomorrow night. As I say, we're playing reasonably well. The Coventry have been a really, really good team all season. But it's going to be a tough ask. Make no mistake about it. I actually think Coventry, play usually. I don't want to say raise their game against us because that's been a bit disparaging towards them, but they match up well against us, if you want to put it that way. They've got a really good goalie in Matt Robson, and they've got a couple of players who are feeling it right now. One of them being Grant Mismash, Gleason's another one who's really stood out, and then they've got the big man at the back for Tannen, who's got either 14 or 15 goals as for a defenseman. So he's got a cannon of a shot. We need to be disciplined, and when the chances do come along, that's going to be important. I think the first goal tomorrow night is a massive one. Massive. If we can get off to a good start and get a goal, and hopefully get the crowd behind us, there's a really good crowd due in tomorrow night as well. If we can get off to a good start, get that goal, it's got all the ingredients to be a really good game.
This will be 2 weeks in the waiting for this game after it was postponed due to Coventry not taking the flight over to Belfast. Davy, you can give us all the Neil Russell cliches. Go for it.
No, I think that Coventry in the games that we've played home and away this season I talked about starting on time. Okay, I'll give you that. Yep. Cliche. We've got to start in Coventry in every game. Throw the kitchen sink at us in the first period and see what sticks to try to get a goal ahead. They're already a goal ahead. they'll be desperate, as Simon said there, for the first goal of the game. It's massive tomorrow night. The first goal of the game is so crucial in terms of how the rest of the tie goes. But they will come at us with everything, try and build something and try and sit on it, because that's what they've done in every single game we've played this season. We've had games where we've been able to chip away at them, and we turned one round the other week, 5-4 after being 4-0 down. But, you know, for me, this getting out a good start tomorrow night, weathering that storm that they'll come with, getting that first goal of the game, getting our crowd engaged in the game. We talked like a couple of games there over the last few weeks. We've played Nottingham, took their crowd out of the game. We played Cardiff the other week, took their crowd out of the game. We've got to have that crowd. And let you do the rally call, Paddy, but we need this crowd to be loud tomorrow night.
100%. And I'll come to that in a second. But Simon mentioned it there, that there was a release from the Elite League today on regards to the venue for the Challenge Cup final. Now, obviously, if the Belfast Giants do what we hope they will do tomorrow night, then it's a very straightforward scenario that the Belfast Giants are the highest seed and they will host the Challenge Cup final. But Coventry are the next in line to host, and then Nottingham are bottom of that. However, the Elite League, and I'll read from the statement today, the Elite League board, comprised of representatives of all 10 member clubs, just so you remember that, agreed earlier this season on a number of venue requirements for the 2026 Challenge Cup final, but didn't tell you back then when they decided it, only decided now to tell you about it. In order to ensure the league's showpiece event is delivered at a venue that meets capacity, broadcast, and event presentation needs. Now, ultimately, what this was telling us is that if Coventry were to defeat us in the Challenge Cup semi-final and face the Nottingham Panthers, that they will not host the final. They've said in the scenario, Coventry they would retain full home team status for the final, including last change and choice of benches. I'm very careful there for them. They didn't also say and home team dressing room, because they will not have home team dressing room at Nottingham, but it will be held at the Motorpoint Arena in Nottingham. Personally, I think that's absolutely disgraceful. I think it's absolutely disgraceful that is the scenario. If Coventry make it, well, which I hope they don't, but if Coventry make it to the Challenge Cup final, their results through the group stages that got them there mean that they are deserving of hosting the way that we have, the way that Sheffield have, the way that probably Cardiff have. You know, the Sky Dome is not much smaller than the Calbon Arena. It's not. It holds 3,000. I think the Calbon Arena holds just 3,100. And the Calbon Arena has hosted multiple Challenge Cup finals. We've won them there ourselves.
Where did they host the NIHL playoffs?
In Coventry.
Oh, okay.
Yes. It's more than capable to have these showpiece events. And for Coventry to actually get, were they to get there, which I hope they don't, but were they to get there, they are deserving of hosting the Challenge Cup final. To move it to Nottingham and to give Nottingham home advantage, I think if you're going to move it, then you move it to a neutral venue. You have it in Sheffield. If that's the issue, you have it in Sheffield. You have it somewhere. You have it in Cardiff. You have it in a neutral venue. But to give it to basically say, well, we're going to have it in Nottingham, where Nottingham will have, it's not mentioned in the thing, Nottingham will have their own dressing room. They'll have their own home fans and their own season tickets. They'll have their own home setup. But because of what the Coventry, if were they to get there, would retain full home team status because they'll get the last change and choice of benches, ensuring the competitive advantage earned through the seating is preserved while enabling the event to be delivered at a venue suited to an occasion of this scale. I'm sorry. I think that is complete and utter nonsense. I'm really disappointed. The Challenge Cup struggles at times with regards to what, struggles times with its format, with people running it down, but you're running it down as well. You're running it down by doing nonsense like this. At the end of the day, I hope it's moot, because I hope the Belfast Giants will come out there, the Belfast Giants fans will go out there, and we will absolutely pummel Coventry and bring the Challenge Cup final back to the SSE Arena once again. But I think that the league need to have a good look at itself with regard to this. I think that's poor. I think it's really poor. It also basically says we've already prepared for Belfast not to win, which should be pinned up in the locker room, because they're already putting contingency in for the Belfast Giants, not thinking the Belfast Giants aren't going to get through. Yes, contingency has to be made, but they've announced it just before we go into our second semi-final. Anyway, I'm sure I'll hear from somebody about that. But it's just a poor decision from the league, and it's really disappointing on that. Anyway.
Simon, want to get yourself a fine or anything there?
Listen, my way I look at it is we're going to win tomorrow night, and
Yep.
it's not really needed for Nottingham. So, but like, I sort of understand the idea of taking it to a bigger venue than Coventry. I'm not saying Coventry's not capable of hosting it, because it obviously is. It hosts GB games, and it hosts the NIHL playoffs. So it is capable of hosting a cup final. There's no doubt about that. The problem is it's not capable of hosting a cup final which hosts potentially 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 people. The league, don't take us any other way than it's about money. That they need money they'll generate more money for themselves when it gets to a stadium like Nottingham, or with the SSE Arena or the Sheffield Arena, and I absolutely understand that, because the expenses for the run an elite league, whether it's officials or whether it's just paying for the arena, there's a lot of expenses taken into consideration. So I get it from that side of things, but holding it in Nottingham, if Coventry have home advantage, I don't see why they couldn't have pushed it up the road to Sheffield for the sake of another 45 minutes to an hour's drive.
If it's about capacity, about money, then shove it up the road to Sheffield where the capacity is larger.
Yeah, look, it's again. I'm hoping it's not going to be needed, and I'm hoping Belfast then win and have a chance to host Nottingham. But the big thing about it is, if they had a neutral venue available for cup finals, then it would be fantastic. But it's not always possible. Do you know what? I don't know if you guys ever got the chance to go to Wembley. Wembley Arena for back in the back in the day, the Heineken Cup finals and what have you. They were absolutely brilliant. Maybe they'll look at that venue. And I know there's talk about Manchester, the old Manchester Arena. I don't know what it's called now. There's talk about AO Arena. There's talk about that being available again from next year.
Be brilliant if it was.
That would be a perfect venue for it. Manchester, great city.
It's because the Co-op Live is opened out by the Etihad. Obviously, it's taken a lot of the major events, which is leaving the Manchester Arena itself, which is in the centre of town, in a great position, in a great a bit like Nottingham Arena, a bit like our own, in a great position within the centre of town. It would be a great venue for it.
Yeah, right, lads, we need to talk about this next week. Let's talk about it next week.
I know I've only 12% left in my laptop battery, so get it over, Paddy.
But yeah, Wednesday night we got a game against Coventry Blaze, which is the one we focused on there. But then it's a double header against the Cardiff Devils at home, which would be two massive games. All of those games will be available on Belfast Giants TV. That is at home on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. against the Coventry Blaze in the Challenge Cup. At home to the Cardiff Devils on Saturday at 7 p.m. and at home to the Cardiff Devils on Sunday at 4 p.m. Any other business, boys?
Two things. Karen Wilson, keep your trap shut and stop telling me to get off my phone. I'm working. And number two, belated happy birthday to wee Roscoe Manley for yesterday. I know he's a big fan of the AVFTB podcast, and I hope you had a great day yesterday, Ross. Happy birthday.
David?
Yes, happy birthday, Roscoe. Last shout for me. Get your tickets in. Less than 24 hours to go. Owning a lovely baseball cap, seeing it's at Wednesday. But big shout out to Dr. Love of Mummy Bear. Haven't seen you for ages. Lovely to get in touch during the podcast. There, love you loads. See you soon.
And I think we got one winner of the guest, David. Look, Angela.
Got your lipstick mark still on my coffee cup. Outstanding. Really nice play on words there, Patrick. Well played.
I'm not going to take credit for that, David, and you know I'm not.
All right, well played, Davy.
And we're going to wrap things up there. There was so much going on in the Elite League this week. We didn't even talk about Clan and the Dundee Stars and what's happening there and all that sort of stuff. There's so much happening in the Elite League in the last week. But anyway, Wednesday night is the big one, and it's Coventry Blaze at home in the second leg of Challenge Cup. Get yourself down there. We're 1 goal behind. We have a chance to get a final back at the SSE Arena. This, as we've said a number of times, is a really good. No, it's not. It's a great Belfast Giants side. Once again, we've been led to being in a great position. We are in a strong position at the top of the league, and if we can turn this around, we've got a strong position of lifting at least 2 trophies with another one up ahead if we get our way to Nottingham. What a massive week it's going to be for the Belfast Giants. Big thanks to Jake Gaudet. Big thanks to David McJempsey. A big thanks to Simon Kitchen and to everybody who's tuned in tonight and watches it. You can get us at X, you can get us on Facebook, you can get us on YouTube, you can get us all the really good podcast providers. And on that note, wherever you are this weekend, we hope you enjoy your hockey. And we'll catch you here next time on A View from the Bridge.